Hello, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and today I'm hanging out with Jacob Budz from XP to level 3. Usually I
Hello.
like have you introduce yourself and tell people what you do, but it's like you're XP to level 3. If you're into D&D and on YouTube, everybody knows who you are.
That's right. I need no introduction here.
So how you doing, man?
Good. I'm doing great. We did this like almost exactly a year ago.
Was it that long ago?
I'm gonna find out because I just wanted to figure out how long ago it was when I was
Yeah.
first on here.
I don't know,
And
man. Ever since I got booted from Facebook, I feel so disconnected with the world.
yeah, it was 11 months ago. It was in June. So wow, almost exactly a year ago.
Close. It
Like
was
4 weeks off.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Boom.
It's been different. It's been a rough time since then, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
getting
actually
better.
like circling back to now and just like inviting my friends on that I haven't gotten to really like talk to or hang out with
Yeah,
because usually I
yeah,
would
yeah.
just message with people on Messenger a lot of times.
Hmm.
So now it's just like I don't know. I'll just invite them on and we'll talk about D&D or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's fun. It's pretty cool.
So
So
what's it like to be a D&D celebrity now?
oh my God, D&D celebrity. I don't even. So my friends like to say that they're like, "You're basically a celebrity." I'm like, "No, I'm not. That is a different
Yeah, yeah.
league of people. If like
Look, man, you're at
if
least a Z list.
Z, yeah, Z list, just barely qualifying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's what we used to
yeah.
call ourselves, Z list, but I don't even think we qualify. We fell off the alphabet.
No, you guys are great.
Well, when
I
we first started, like the idea of even getting 100,000 subscribers talking about D&D was like we didn't even know if that was doable.
really,
Like or that
Hmm.
was looked like it might be the ceiling. And
Yeah,
now you're closing in on
that
500,000.
that's the crazy part is that it's like it's just the amount of people and the amount of support that there is for this continues. Like I genuinely thought that when I first started doing this, not only did I expect to start making it into like a career almost,
Yeah.
but like but it being like my full-time job, but at the same time also it like being so huge for everybody else as well, because uh like the amount of views and the amount of people that are willing to see content and the amount of people that are willing to watch videos and do all this stuff is insane. One statistic that really blew me away was I'm going to get my stats right on this one, but that gosh darn video app, the clock app, TikTok,
Oh yeah, yeah.
they you can like post videos with like hashtags, and I've posted a few on there with like certain hashtags, and you can see like how many views the hashtag has, and I believe the hashtag Dungeons and Dragons one is, let me see here, 1.6 billion views on
Oh
that
my
hashtag,
god.
which blew me away. I was like, what?
I don't even believe that many
1.6
people played the
billion?
game.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I was like, holy God, that's insane. And then it all made sense to me. I was like, I mean, everybody's super into it right now, and it's really big on the internet. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and it's also kind of why what I do for a living. So I guess it kind of makes sense.
That
So
is
it's just crazy that the game's
yeah.
that big right now.
It's also weird to me like how it's like easier to make a career or a living in this industry
Yeah.
or around this industry by like doing what we do or making tables or dice. But like if you're
Mhm.
actually the person like making the books, like working for a company, it's like
Yeah.
most of those people don't even do it full time.
Yeah, and it's such a small team too. I don't know if this is correct or not, so don't quote me on. I'm not a sorts of information. I make memes. I don't make proper tutorial videos. Dave and I were talking about that before we got on. But but isn't like the new Ravenloft book like the most writers they've had on like a book in recent history, I think.
I don't
Um
I don't know. Oh, I got it
I
right here
saw it.
somewhere.
I saw an article about
Yeah.
that where it was just like, this is like the biggest project they've ever done. I don't know if it means like it's like the biggest book they've ever had, or if it's like the
I
biggest,
think it is a little bit
amount of
bigger than the
writers.
ones they've been putting out. It's like 250. I mean, other
Regardless,
than the
yeah,
core.
it's a little bit bigger than normal. I don't know if it's something revolutionary or anything, but
I
like,
haven't decided whether I
and
like
I
it or
looked and
not.
it's like maybe 20 writers or something
Yeah.
like that. And it's like, that's a lot of writers. But then when you think about it, it's like, compared to like other mediums, it's almost like nothing.
Do
It's
they send you the copies?
No, they don't like me.
They're just so clueless when it comes to some things.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell.
It's so bizarre because you'll see who they send out advanced stuff to, and some of them make sense, right? And then other ones are like, they don't even do anything. They're a Twitter personality. Is that even a thing? Like,
yeah. I guess it's publicity for them because they're a Twitter personality. But it's like,
but when I say like a Twitter personality in the D&D space is like, most of them aren't that big. It's not like,
it's always that, it's that person you're just like, oh, that's cool. Who are you? And then you go look and see like, oh, do you write? Oh no. Okay. Do you make videos? No. What do you do? And then you find out they don't do anything. They just are on Twitter, and you're like, okay,
yeah.
Well, all right, it's cool.
They're like, I'm a content creator, and like you find out like the only content they create is tweets.
I mean, I am basically.
But who am I to judge, man? I don't know. It's just weird to me. I'm old.
No, yeah. I'm basically just doing that. I'm just making tweets, but they're YouTube videos. They're just less than 2 minutes, and they're just memes. That's all they are. So
yeah, but that that makes sense to me because like then YouTube will put ads in front of it. You'll make them a bunch of money, and then you get a little piece of that. So like at least that like makes sense to me.
Yeah, I guess it's strange. Yeah, I don't know. I've never ever really been in contact with Wizards of the Coast either. Like I've never, I know people who are in contact with them, but I've never like directly like been in their face and been like, hello, except for maybe like Chris Perkins. I've met Chris Perkins, which was great, but that he's not like the face of anything. And it's not like he's like, oh yeah, that guy, but he did follow me on Twitter, so that was a win. That was the only win. That's all I cared about. I just wanted Chris Perkins, and that's all I needed in life.
But I mean, he's like the OG actual play streamer, right?
Yeah, I love Chris Perkins. He's so great. He's so charismatic, and he's such a nice guy. And he was really cool, and I got to meet him too. Yeah. I met him at PAX at the end of 2019, and you were there. You were at the convention. And there was after a panel, and they just walked off stage, and I was like, I'm gonna go up to him, and I just did. I walked over to him, and I was just like, I love you. And I love everything you've written, especially Curse of Strahd. I love Curse of Strahd. And he was just like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I shook his hand, and he was just like, well, why not wait till next year? There's something coming. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I don't know what he was referring to until now. I know he's probably referring to Van Richten's guide, which I'm so excited for. When does that come out? That comes out in like less than a week, right?
I don't know. We got our copies. Was it? Oh, the beginning of this week.
Get the copies, huh? You guys got yours already.
Yeah.
You guys are in.
I don't know. So
you guys, if there's anything that you guys have on me, you have more friends than me. That's definitely. We're
just obnoxious and from Jersey and just go like talk to anybody, whether they want to talk to us or not. No, this is a really welcoming industry and hobby, right? Like everyone is really open and willing to talk, and also too, like I don't know, man. Like I just been around a while, just in general. I'm old, right? So one of the things I learned in life is if you don't ask for something, no one is going to give you anything. Like even when I had a regular job, my motto was always ask for a raise whether you deserve it or not. You know, because you're never going to work for someone and they're going to be like, here's more money.
Yeah, exactly. But like the worst they can say is no. I guess the worst they could say is you're fired. But I mean, with a reasonable person, the most they can say is no.
Yeah.
So it's like, but yeah, I'm starting to learn that more often. I just be like, if I just, because I figure I'm always sitting there like thinking about it, like, does Wizards of the Coast even know who I am? And then I'm like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect what I do. I don't need their approval or anything. But then I'm like, but I mean, I want to have at least a good relationship with them. I don't want to be like, oh, we're enemies or we don't know each other at all. I bet if I reached out and got in contact with them, it would be a different story. So
yeah, it would be super easy. I mean,
yeah.
And it's not even them. It's like a PR company that works for them. And so like I said, that's why I'm always just surprised when like someone like you or Logan aren't getting the books, but like some person that tweets does, right?
Yeah.
Well, and also like we were like one of the last ones to get the book, I guess. Like I'm like, so I ended up emailing like, hey, are we off the list now? But like, no, here's your tracking number. I'm like, oh, cool.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Doug in the chat, can I have a raise?
No, get back to work.
That's great.
See, a reasonable person will not fire you for asking for a raise. Maybe give them more work because clearly they're not busy enough to. If they're asking for raises, they need to have too much time on their hands, I think.
I have to agree, though. The community is very, very welcoming and open. There's so many new creators from the past year that have kind of come out and started making videos, which is really cool. And I'm always like, hey, this is great. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't always have the time to be like, I'm going to be your best friend now. But like, if they ever reach out and they talk to me, I've totally talked to them. And I've also seen lots of other creators kind of get in on that as well. Like a couple of weeks ago, I got invited onto Bards for Bards, which was like a charity organization that a bunch of other D&D YouTubers made. One of them was like Joe Cat, and Dingo invited me into it. And that was just like, it was for charity, which was really cool. But like, it was so cool to just like be together with everybody in the community, especially after 2020, and being like, oh, we're going to hang out and have fun and play games and do it for a good cause. It was just like, I'm that girl in the YouTube rewind that everybody hates. She's like, I'm so proud of this community. Yeah, that's me after that. So
did you see Jasper's cool. Game Day week raise over 100K?
That's awesome. That's
for suicide prevention.
That's great. I did something with, they did a game day. I don't know if it was a game day week or I don't know when that was. I did something with them.
It started as a game day, but then like now they'll do they'll do them by the weekend. Just do a bunch of
yeah. It was like a couple months ago, and I ran a one shot that was like really random, and the viewers could donate to make it worse, and it was hilarious because it was like really nice whenever anybody would donate, because it was like, oh, thank you so much. And then I'm over here like, you, and I had to they constantly were donating dragons into the game. They were just like, it was just this small little level 5 game where they have to go to this place and solve a thing, and they were like, and a blue dragon's here now, and I'm like, okay, thank you for helping out with the charity, but oh god. And it was chaotic and a lot.
How many dragons did you end up with?
Like three of them. It was ridiculous. Well, we had one that was like a reoccurring character. So I think like 5. So we had like one, and then it left, and then they donated 3 more, and then like the other one came back, and it was like everybody almost TPK'd, and it was ridiculous. So yeah. They were just running, basically. They weren't even fighting him.
Yeah, it was crazy. So Fenway Jones is she started that charity like when she was like 14 or something, 15, like really young. And so I use her to shame my children. I'm like, why aren't you guys doing more with your life? You see Fenway Jones here? Look how amazing she is.
Oh man. But your kids, one of your kids is like my age, right?
Really close, yeah. David will be 21 this year.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm 24 this year, so
yeah.
Guess you're not that old, Dave.
Yeah. Not that old. So Brian wants to know, are you healed up from that real D&D combat demo?
No, it was real rough. I took a lot of damage. Although I do have the stats of a commoner effectively. So I've got like 5 hit points. Colton did do about 1 to 2 damage to me. It took I took a short rest, but I was only able to roll 1 hit dice because I was saving the other one. So I didn't fully rest up and get all my hit points back until I long rested after.
You're gonna have to you're gonna have to hire a personal trainer if you want to keep up that physical comedy, man.
Oh yeah.
You're huffing and puffing on that one.
Oh my god, yeah, that was that video was like, hey, let's go film this video outside and go do it. And we were like, yeah. And then it was like we stepped outside and we were out there for a minute. We're like, oh, we haven't done this in like a year. This is hard.
Yeah, there's so much outside out here.
Yeah, we're just like, yeah. I had to go through and cut out like, all right, I'm gonna cut out the fact that I ran like 5 feet, and I was like, It's ridiculous.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was such a dumb video. We just went out there and we're just I was like, what if we this was the planning for this video. It's like, all right, I need to make a video. What if we went outside and we made squares and then we just did rules in D&D and see if they actually work? And and Spencer just filmed it. And there was no bits planned. There was no script. That was just Colton and I just messing around outside, and I was able to edit it into something that was okay. And then
how long was the raw footage?
15 minutes.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't even that long. Normally the raw footage for videos like that is like, it's like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but usually you're not required to run around and swing a sword either. So
no, after 15 minutes we got tired. We're like, this is hard. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally the other skit videos I script out, and those videos are like we have so many takes, and we have sometimes the camera angle's weird, and we have weird lighting, and I wanted to look good still, so those end up like 30 minutes long, but the content's only like 2. So
it works, man. I mean, it pays off clearly.
Yeah, everybody they're so much easier to make than the old like 15-minute super edited how to play videos, which I loved making. Those videos were like really fun projects, but like I almost get to do that, but on a smaller level, because in those videos I got to do skits as well, where I was basically just going, okay, how can I make fun of this ability in a dumb way? And then I would just do it, and then I would put it in the video. Now I'm just taking those and I'm just uploading them. Is all I'm doing. So I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for like years. I'm just it's in a format. So yeah, they're fun to make. I really like I enjoy editing a little more than I should. Everybody's always like, oh, so you have an editor, right? I'm like, no. No, I like editing my videos. I take pride in editing my videos. I like doing it.
I take pride in sending it off to someone else to edit.
I take pride in filming it and then not having to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so in some ways it's harder because you have to like storyboard, and if your editor doesn't understand the material, so in that way it can be a little bit harder. But they also just do a better job with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you make it work.
I think I could have an editor if I sent it. If it was like those. The name I have for them is Davy Chappy style videos, which is just like my voiceover with like the images, and I'm talking about something, and occasionally there's jokes. Those don't require like an insane amount of editing knowledge in my mind, and they're really tedious. I don't like editing those. I wouldn't mind setting that up to somebody, because I'm like, it's not like you can mess it up too bad. But like the skit videos, I have like I really plan those out to be like, I want to be able to hear my echo of my voice in this shot while it cuts while I'm talking over here. So like the layers are super weird, but it's like I want it to look like a certain way. So it's like, I'll just do it. It's not that hard.
It's a skill, man. You're an artist. What games are you playing in now?
A lot. You asked this last time, and I was like, yeah, I play a lot of D&D, and now I'm like, I still play a lot of D&D. I'm gonna take a sip of this water.
Yeah, sip away. Is it all streamed, or do you have any like just like your home game?
A home game.
Yeah.
So last time I actually went back to the old live chat, and I was like listening. I was like, what was I doing at this period of time? It's all different now. It's all different. Last time I said, I was like, I'm playing like an online game, and then I'm playing this other game, and then we're streaming. No, it's like we have one home game that is in person that I play with my sister and her husband and his dad and my friend Marshall, Colton, and Spencer. So we play that in person, and that game is real fun. It's real loosey-goosey, whatever. My sister's kind of new to playing D&D, but she's really getting into it, and she's really liking it. So it's just really fun to see, like, we got a little bit of new players, we got a little bit of experienced players. That's always like my favorite, is because you've got the excitement of the newer players, but the excitement of the newer players gets the experienced players really excited. So everybody's just excited, and it's a good time. That's like the only home game that we're doing is that one. And then we've got we've got 2 streamed games that we play on Fridays. We paused one, but we're coming back to it next Friday. That's going to be in person. And then my game, which we also play on Fridays, is we rotate them on Fridays, is also coming back to in person live the next following Friday. And then we're also playing Tomb of Annihilation, which we've been playing since July. We've been playing that every Saturday, and we're almost done with it. And that game has been a lot of fun, but really long. Have you ever got to play any parts of Tomb of Annihilation?
I have not. I've literally only played in one official
Really?
adventure, which I'm playing now. We got one session left, I think.
What is it?
Curse of Strahd.
Nice.
And yeah, so that group started at the beginning of the pandemic, and we're like, well, we're all locked down, and like V from the Crafting Muse like had this like birthday weekend gathering of some different like Twitter people and personalities and stuff. So a bunch of cool people who hung out for the weekend. We're like, we want to keep doing this. So with the pandemic, we're like, well, let's play online. Like we won't have nothing else to do anyway. So we've been doing that. So James Intercasto ran us through the Frozen Sick from Wildmount.
That's cool.
And then like one of the other players, Goblin Katie, was like, I really want someone to run Curse of Strahd. So Hunyo, DM Jazzy Hand on Twitter, is like, I'll run it, and he's been running it since. And
do you like it?
Yeah. I mean, one, he's a fantastic GM.
That's good. That's great.
And then it was funny too, because one of the characters from the Frozen Sick, he brought back as the Mad Mage.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so and it's great. Like someone we met. So when the characters met him, like he had lost his mind, and they're like, "Do we really want him to remember who we are?"
That's so fun. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Curse of Strahd, we ran that on our channel too, and it was probably one of the most fun games we played in. I don't know what it was about that game. It's not that it's like insanely different in comparison to the other pre-written adventures, but like maybe it was our party, maybe it was the time we were playing it, but I've never heard somebody who was like, oh yeah, we played Curse of Strahd and hated it. It's like, oh yeah, it was either fun or it was just like really great. And I really also like the module.
I also had my first character death in a long time.
Really?
Since you killed one of my characters, actually.
Since he fell into lava, and I hold that title. I killed Dave. How did he die? What happened?
We went to track down Bobby the Saga, and I turned him. I was playing a Twilight Cleric, and I turned invisible and hid in the skull. And then another player actually cast Hold Person on her, and it worked. So I was like, nice. Oh, so I hit him with like a 3rd or 4th level inflict wounds.
Nice.
And then I wasn't invisible anymore, and they were like, touch, finger of death, and did like 70 points of damage, and I think I had like 40, 50 hit points.
Holy crap,
so I was
dude.
instantly a zombie. I got to play my zombie character for like a round or two.
That's insane. That's so cool though. It's just like, dang, I wouldn't expect anything less from Baba Saga.
Yeah. I mean, but that was like a super tough fight for us.
Yeah. My party, I think they casted Fireball on her while she was in it, and that's how they handled that. They just let her sit in there and burn.
Yeah,
and kept her in there, and they were like, all right, that's done. Now what? I was like, oh my God, guys. Jeez.
Now, I've heard other people say like the hag encounter was like really tough, but like we went to them in reverse order, I think. And
that's the point. The point is you're supposed to come back to it later. And a lot of players will go to the bone grinder and be like, oh, cool. Let's just go find out whatever's in there and kill it. And it's like, you're going to die. And so that's
now that we cakewalked that. Like that was like, so
really?
I think one of them basically got murdered in their sleep almost. And the third one's like coming up in the wagon and boom, fireball.
Holy crap. Dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun though.
Yeah. And so they're going to like come up with a way for my character to come back. But I'm like, nah, they're dead. I'll just make a new one. So I'm playing an Artificer, which is a gnome that has a steel defender that's a mechanical kangaroo. So he rides in the pouch.
So great. great.
Yeah.
He rides in the pouch.
You're
That's
right.
so cool. Oh my gosh. I love the new Artificer that they released with Eberron. New. It's not really new anymore,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've been playing it too, and it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. Yeah, I'm the same with you on character deaths though. I really like just being dead. Like if I die, and the party's like, let's bring him back. I'm like, you don't have to.
Yeah, and also
I
like you
think,
go through the stages of losing your character, right? And I go through them really
yeah,
fast.
exactly.
So like I'm already like on to my next character in my head.
Yeah, exactly. I
Uh,
yeah, I really like character deaths a lot, and I wish more players were kind of into the idea of just being dead and being like, that's fine,
it's part of the
and
game.
like yeah, exactly, and I kind of wish raising people back to life wasn't such a common thing either. Like I kind of wish that was like I like Matthew Mercer's rules a lot, where it's like a ritual and it may not work
Yeah.
because then it kind of puts in this idea that well they're likely dead, we could try but they'll probably still be dead, and then it's but then you also have to find somebody to cast it, especially if you're a lower level party, and that can be its own adventure. And the same thing, it's just the thing I hate to hear from players is like a character is dead and the combat's over and they go over their dead companion and they go down. It's that move, it's like the movie moment where the character is dead and the first thing somebody says is, well, you could bring him back to life. Well, we could probably bring him back to life, right? And it's like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Where's
like,
the drama?
Come on. Yeah, where's the drama? Freaking in movies, bad example, Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn is stabbed on the ground. Obi-Wan walks over to him and he's dying in his arms. He's just be like, don't worry, this guy will cast Raise Dead on you. You'll be fine. It's like play into the moment a little bit. And if
Yeah.
you find a way to bring this character back to life, then that can be something that can come up later. But while they're dead and everybody's grieving and the fellowship has run out of the mines of Moria and Gandalf fell to his death, are they like, don't worry, we can cast Raise Dead? Like,
Yeah.
come on, guys.
So in that campaign, I was playing a Twilight Cleric of Maglubiet, right? And
Okay.
he was a
The
human.
goblin god?
Yes, a human raised by
Nice.
goblins, right?
Nice.
And one of the other characters, like really early on, was playing. It was an Aarakocra, and they described their characters being kind of shitty. And in one of the adventures, they were carrying another character over this frozen water with sharks in it, and the GM was like,
Oh, jeez.
you can make a roll and try and save both of you, or you can just be safe and drop the person you're carrying. And they're like, I dropped the person I'm carrying. And from that moment on, my character was like, that is the team leader, that is the boss, that is what a goblin boss would do. And so I would always like give my blessing to that character, and so they became friends.
So cool.
And when my character died, they then tried to bring the character back, and like the GM let them have like a kind of like a vision or whatever of seeing like my character in in the goblin heaven, whatever that is. But like, because like that character was always trying to pitch to the NPCs to become a servant of Maglubliet and worship Maglubliet. Yeah. And like the big selling point was like, you'll get to fight orcs for the rest of eternity. In the endless war. He never got a taker until when after he died, the next time that character leveled up, they took a level in cleric and became a cleric of Maglubliet.
That's great. That's real poetic. That's awesome.
Yeah,
man, that's so cool. I love that. That's a fun little development that you get with your character there. I like the idea that you respected him after he let somebody die. Like that's really, really cool.
Yeah. So, well, like you would always bring up like really weird goblin facts, right? That I always just make up on the spot. So
yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I love character stories like that. They're always so interesting because it's, it's all based in action. Nobody wrote that out. It was just something that you guys did, which is, kind of the cool part of D&D.
So you want to take on a D&D question from Brian?
I am ready.
He wants to know, half of my party got petrified by a Gorgon. What is the most fun way to keep the stone players engaged?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that always drags.
Rough. Getting petrified sucks because you just get to sit there and do nothing while the party gets to have fun. So it's like half your party got petrified and the other half is still fighting the Gorgon. So you want to make sure that they still get to have fun while this is going on. Well, speed up the fight, first of all. That's what I would do. My first thing would be like, I wouldn't try to find something to get them to do. They're petrified. They're not going to get to do anything. Instead, I would just try to make the fight as quick as possible and allow that the next bit of role play or part of the game where they're going to get unpetrified comes pretty quickly. And that can be engaging for them because they get to see what happens to the characters. But if that's not something that's super doable and you want something to happen throughout the game, what if they're all in like a dream sequence? The Gorgon's petrification has put their consciousness into like an extra dimensional space, and the characters are there, and maybe there's some sort of puzzle that they can solve, because Gorgons are almost minotaurs, right? They like mazes, and they could be in some sort of maze where they it's a minotaur, but it's on the other side. It's got the four legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could be in some sort of maze where on their turns they're kind of going through this maze, trying to find things, trying to find a way out, or trying to help themselves. And maybe you can tell them that there's sort of a risk. They can go through the maze if they want to, and if they continue on, they can find certain MacGuffins, objects, items, puzzles, whatever that can free them. But there's a chance that they could also kill them too, and they would be dead, and they're still in petrification form.
Like you said, it's tough if you're actually in the fight and then they're going to get to the part where they can be unpetrified afterwards.
Yeah.
That's really tough. You could do something where each round they have a piece of their life flash before their eyes and give them a little bit of a flashback scene.
Yeah, they get a little role play moment is fun too.
Yeah, or if it's going to be a case where like after the fight ends, they're still going to be petrified and like it's going to be a while, then you could what we've done in the past is when the party splits, we'll introduce NPCs, and sometimes just like the NPCs from the back of the monster manual, that the players can play them while their actual character is away from the party doing something else.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like definitely that's come up a couple times. And it just gives them a way to stay engaged in the game, but not like take away from the game. Like I know, like in one of the games we were playing, one of the players is like, "Hey, I got this thing I want to do, but I don't want to mess up the whole session to do it right. Can I just play this veteran from the back of the monster manual with the group while that my character does the thing?"
That's fun too, you know. You just get to play a little stat block, and at least you get to do something instead of just being useless. That's always fun too, because then if that character you're playing dies, it's like, oh well.
You don't care, right? Yeah, they're disposable.
Exactly. Yeah. That's fun though. Yeah. But another thing too that I've done is when we were running Tomb of Annihilation, a couple of games ago, one of my friend's characters, Tyler, he's playing a monk named China, and she got petrified by these like wall eyeballs. In one of the layers of the Tomb of the Nine Gods, there's like this mold, and the mold is like spies for this beholder that's on that level, and all of the eyes can fire off these rays from the beholder. They're there to monitor the players. That's their main goal. But if the players go over and attack them and destroy them, they'll fire one of the beholder rays at them. So Chino went over and it was like, I don't like these eyes looking at me, and casted burning hands on them. And I was like, that's not good. So like 3 eyes fired at her. And one of them was like a strength ray. She succeeded that. One of them was like a disintegration one. She succeeded that, so no damage. And the other one was a petrification one. She failed that one. And but the petrification one is weird, because if you fail it 3 times, then you're fully petrified. But I didn't like that if you just succeeded, then the petrification was gone. So I was like, we'll be a little fun with this. So I didn't want China to be completely out of the game, and Tyler was really bored. Instead, I wanted to get a little of the mix between. So just had him keep rolling, and he succeeded the second one. So I was like, okay, so you're not fully petrified. Instead, you're petrified up to your waist. And so and we were really crazy on, we don't have a cleric in the party. We just had we have a divine soul sorcerer. That's the closest that we get. And so that's Spencer's character. She didn't have any like way to reverse it. And I was tracking hour by hour in the tomb because they're in a dungeon. They can't just be long resting every 5 seconds. So I was like, you guys got a whole day. And it was like 2 games that Chino was half stone as a monk too. So it was really fun for roleplay because our barbarian was basically just carrying her around, and she was like, let me at the bad guys. It would like, all right, stick you right here, and then we'll go into the fight. And then she'd just be there just punching things, but she can't move. It was a lot of fun. So there, if you ever have the opportunity to, if you're going to petrify your players, give them the opportunity to be like half petrified. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
They just needed a set of roller skates. Put the monk on and just push them around
with a stick so they can control which way they're going. Yeah. That would be good.
Maybe a good use of the grease spell. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Get some speed. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like doing different things with the game, changing mechanics like that.
Yeah, it got a little dicey though, because there's these 4 tomb guardians that are at the bottom of like the Tomb of the 9 Gods is like this. It's got all these levels, and then the middle there's like a staircase that goes all the way to the bottom. At the very bottom of like the 4th level, there's these 4 stone gargoyles. They're really strong, and throughout the entirety of the game, they had all been taking some of the traps that they had dismantled. They hate Aceric, and they've just been like, screw you, Aceric, and take some of the traps and huck them over the balcony, so they land on the bottom, and they just be creating like a trash heap at the bottom of this dungeon. Like, we're destroying your dungeon, we hate you. And then at one point, they were doing like a fight, and then like they threw these zombies overboard, and they landed at the bottom, but they're still alive. And so Ari, Spencer's character, went down and was just like, I'm just make sure that they're dead, and casted Fireball, and that triggered all of the Stone Guardians. And so they were like, let's just finish these guys off and have ready to go. And it went from like, these guys are definitely going to die, we're going to be out of combat, to, oh my God, we're all going to die, because now there are 4 Stone Guardians that can fly, have come up. They each have like 100 or so health, and they can do like 5 attacks. And they were like, oh God. And Chino was still half stone. So it was really rough. And they hadn't long rested in a while either. They lived by running away, and it was really scary. And that
running away is a viable tactic that is underused.
Yes, especially newer players never learn to run away. It's always the seasoned players. The seasoned players are like, running away is great because then you live, and then you can come back and fight it later.
So is that player playing a Way of the 4 Elements monk?
No, she's a fire genasi. Oh no, yes, Way of the 4 Elements monk. Yes, you would be correct. I was like, you and your D&D knowledge, you know everything. Yes, of course. The only way you could cast Burning Hands is if you were
I say that because it's funny, because my son, like, I have this game that I'm playing with him and one of my nephews and one of his friends and my wife. And at first he started off playing a Tortle Way of the 4 Elements monk. That's and then he talked to Ted, and he's like, Dad, Ted told me Way of the 4 Elements is the worst monk and they're trash. I'm like, yeah, but you were having fun, so I don't care. And then he's like, can I change him?
Like that he came to you and said that they were trash. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's funny.
The 4 Elements isn't that bad. It's only I think it's the most flavorful out of all the monks. I think
that's just it. Like, new players love that one because they're like, it's an airbender, right? They can bend.
Yep.
So it's really cool. But then when you get into the mechanics and you realize, after half a fight, they're out of key points and they can't do anything until you get a short rest.
An elemental monk will feel useless as soon as there's a wizard in the party.
There's that too.
Yeah. It's like the wizard can
Tasha's made them better.
Really?
Well, yeah, because when
they
you
added more?
No, it's not that they added more, but when you spend key points, now you can do other things. Like, you can use your bonus action to attack. It's one of the optional rules.
That's cool.
So it does make it feel a little bit better. And so, like, I have a new player and they wanted to play one, and I was like, oh, cool. So what I did is, like, really early on, I gave them a magic item that doubles their key points.
Hey.
So they're not like constantly running out.
That's cool. Man, Tasha's real. I love Tasha's. I still have not really read all of it yet, and I'm still learning new things.
I know we're
Like
just finally getting around to going through the subclasses and putting up
I,
videos on
I
them.
that was like the first thing I did is I went through all the subclasses because I wanted to
Yeah,
see all of them because I know I'm gonna have players gonna be like, oh, can I play this? And I want to know what it is. So I what I haven't done is really gone through like the magic items. I did the magic tattoos. I know
oh
those.
yeah.
And the puzzles. They did puzzles in there. The
I like
puzzles
all
are
the
great.
books.
Yeah, the books, the new magic books. I saw them. I didn't really get to read them, but I was like, that's cool. I have no idea how group patrons work. I've barely dabbled in sidekicks,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that there is a whole area of this book where it's parlaying with monsters, and
Yes.
you can. They just did Stibble's Codex. No, I'm just kidding. They did it's you can parlay with monsters, which is really cool. But the best part about this is it has little tables for monster desires. So what aberrations want, what do celestials want, what do dragons want. But then there's also a table for monster research, and I use this religiously, where it's like adventurers can research what a creature is like to desire. Or the monster research table suggests what skills can be used to learn about a creature of particular type, which has been a thing in my games for forever, or that I'll
Yeah.
describe a monster like in the distance or something they hear, and the players will be like, do I know what that is? And I'm like, I don't know. Roll Arcana, history.
Nature, one
I
of
don't know if you would
those.
roll for that. One of those. But now there's a table for it. So if it's a fiend, it's Arcana or religion. If it's a plant, it's nature or survival. If it's an aberration, it's Arcana. If it's a beast, it's animal handling, nature or survival. And the DC is 10 plus the challenge rating. And I was like, that's perfect. Thank you for this. This is all I needed. And it's really great.
I
So
mean,
I like that they added
I
those.
think like a lot of us were just kind of doing that anyway. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like a lot of the rules are just regurgitations or reimagined rules from the past anyway. So
Yes.
I think like
Yeah, definitely.
if you played a lot of them, it's kind of easy. It's kind of easy to figure that stuff out. Like,
It's kind of nice from my mind though to have like at least it's like it's got the official seal of approval on it. Even though there
yeah,
are a lot of rules I play with that are homebrew and I like that at work and all that stuff. I've never found like a system for that worked. And I was like, well, that was simple. I don't know why I never thought of that. But
the danger is always like going back to 3.5, like where there's a rule for everything, and then it's just like
that's yeah.
so many fights at the table.
Yeah. Well, at least it's nice that it's kind of in another book.
Yeah,
So then it's like if I'm playing in a game and I want to learn about a monster and I know that this rule exists, but the DM doesn't prompt me for it, I'm not going to make a big fuss about it because I know it's in another book and it's kind of an optional rule. You don't have to run with it. Instead of like, it's in the base book and this is a rule. This is a thing that the game tells me I can do. So I should be able to do it. That's the nice part about 5th edition is there are things that the book tells you that you can do. Like if I as a player, I'm like, I want to take the shove action. And the DM's like, I don't know what that is. Well, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, okay. But like I can open the player's handbook and be like, that
yeah,
there it
yeah.
is. It's in the book. But like with Tasha's, it's like, I have to use it if you don't want to. It's still sort of optional. And so at least that's kind of nice. And
It's not in the core rules.
Yeah, they're just adding on these optional rules that you can use that you don't have to adhere to, and not every DM and player needs to know 100% of the time.
So real quick, Five Minis wants to know, when can we get a music video collab between Dave and Jacob? I would not do that to you folks. Jacob is awesome. But if you want a Jacob music D&D collab video, it exists. It is out there. You can see Jacob and Guy Slanders from How to Be a Great GM do an insane 12 days of something or other.
We did a Christmas song, yeah.
And like, I think like Guy had the hard part, right? Where he had to say like all the things. So like when he gets to like towards the end, he's like so out of breath because it's like he's got to say like everything.
Yep. Oh, man, I remember this.
So it exists somewhere. I don't know how you would find it. I don't remember if it was on Jacob's channel or Guy's channel or both.
I think it was both. I feel
but
like
it was pretty funny. You guys did a great job.
here, I'm sending it. Oh, not on that. Here. I'm sending it into the chat right now. So y'all want to see this train
Incoming.
wreck, you can go check it out. It's pretty ridiculous though. Yeah,
But it's
that
for
was
Christmas, so you just got to save it and watch it right before Christmas.
yeah. Guy, I don't even remember filming this. Guy literally just messaged me and was like, "Want to do a Christmas song?" And I was like, "Sure, man, let's do it."
It was so good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so much thinner in this video.
Just blame it on COVID, man. It's the COVID 20.
It's always COVID. Yeah, of course. I had to keep
like
telling
5
myself
years
that
from
when
now, it's going to be the COVID 20.
Yeah. That's how I felt when I was filming that new video. We were running around outside. I sat down to edit it, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm depressed now." But,
Dude,
it's okay.
We got together for Mother's Day with the family, and extended family for the first time. Like pretty much everyone except for like the kids that are too young are vaccinated, right? And
yeah, of course.
And I went to put on jeans, and I was like, "Oh my god, fuck these jeans!" And we found some track pants.
I feel that. Yep. Oh my god, it's like my wardrobe has been completely changed to just wearing stretchy pants now. It's like this is. Not only did I wear it all year and it's super comfortable, but now it's a little more socially acceptable because everybody's wearing it. It's like, I can wear this.
We're all the people of Walmart now.
Yeah, exactly. People Walmart won't exist anymore when everybody's the people of Walmart.
Everything is just lounge
You know
pants.
what? I've got pop chord progression. You know, you can go to any pop song and you can find the same chord progressions in like a million songs. So just saying that, just throwing that out there. If it gets stuck in your head, then it worked.
So, Fried Minis, how does your dad respond to all the hot dad comments? Oh my god!
No,
I didn't read the comments. I saw the video.
Too well. No, the opposite that you think it would. It went straight to his ego.
Jacob inadvertently really did cause his parents' divorce.
My mom was just like grossed out by it. She was just like, "Ew, stop!" And my dad was like, "Oh well, if they're gonna comment that, they're gonna comment that." I'm like, "Dad, stop it!" I was like, my sisters thought it was really funny because they were like, "Yeah, they kept calling you a DILF, Dad," and I was like, "Stop!" And
oh my god,
my mom, and we were at the dinner table. My mom's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh god!" And so we explained it to my mom, and she was like, "Oh no, no!"
That's so good.
And it was. Yeah, we were all grossed out by it. My sister thought it was super funny, and my dad, to like a huge confidence boost that he did not need. My dad did not need any more confidence than he already does. My dad is like 56, and he looks like he's in his 30s. He didn't need any more comments talking about how he doesn't look his age. So
yeah, my grandfather was like that. Like he was in like his 70s, and like they would always get the like I don't know if you remember like the surveyors that would come up to people in the malls and stuff, and they would come up to him and be like, "Hey, like we're looking for this age group of like 40 to 50." And he was like in his 70s. I didn't get any of those genes at all because I'm like 45 and look like I'm about 65. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, one time my dad always tells me this story where he was living on his own. He was like my age, and he got somebody came to the door when he was married to my mom. They were living together alone. He was like 23 or 24, and this like telemarketer or somebody, not telemarketer, sorry, like a door-to-door salesman came to the door, and he opened the door, and they were like, "Oh, can we speak to your parents?" And he was like, "No," and he shut the door. And he was like, "I own the house actually." So, and he shut it. It was pretty cool. And I was just like, "Dang, you look that young." Like, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, you look really young too. You got a baby face, which
definitely.
Don't roll your eyes, man, because 20 years from now, you're gonna be loving that.
I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna hate it now, but in 20 years, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I do look quite young, don't I?" And now I'm like trying my hardest to look older than I actually am.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
I think the first time I got served, I was like 14.
Really?
Yeah. So I've always just looked older, which felt cool back then, but now in hindsight, it's like, I think it would have been, it's much better the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets better as you get older, definitely.
Because like if I look like I'm 65 now, what's it gonna look like when I'm actually 65? I'm gonna look like the Crypt Keeper.
You'll you'll just look really cool. You'll just everybody be like, "How are you still alive?" And you'll be like, "I'm just awesome."
I'm just like, I'm really not that
I'm
old.
just really cool. Yeah, I'm actually only 50, but
I got the Benjamin Buttons thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly that. Yeah, it was weird having my parents in a video. I had never had them in one, and I knew that they would be fine because they're like they're I've seen videos YouTubers with their parents, and their parents are always like really awkward or really weird, and I
Yeah.
knew my parents wouldn't be super awkward or anything because I mean they're just as weird as me sometimes, and that was very evident by the video. They were very, I was like, all right, you guys, I had to like pretend to them. I was like, if you guys want to play up jokes, if you want to be strange, I don't mind at all. And they were all nervous. They were like, oh, what if the comments are really bad? I'm like, then don't read them. Just don't read the
Yeah.
comments. But the comments are often not super bad. Like most of the time they're nice to me. So you should be good. And so we recorded it. And I was like, I was really surprised at how like many jokes that they were doing. And I was
Yeah.
just like, all right, you guys are cooler than I thought. All right, this worked out.
And they
then
asked to be in another
everybody
video.
was calling my dad hot, and that he looked like Colton, and I was like, no, stop, stop it. I regret all of it. So yeah, it was fun though. It was a good time.
Have they asked to be in another video?
I mean, no, but I'll probably do it again just because it was fun. I just want to give it some time so that it's not like I'm trying to milk the content or anything. I want it to be a little bit of time before I do it again. So
I know before we got started, you were telling me about your new stream setup. You guys getting ready to. I'm like, are your parents going to be in your game? And he's like, what are you talking about?
I want to.
And then you're like, oh,
actually.
I did that video.
Yeah. Okay. We just question just in the chat. Jason Vickery said, when do we get actual play with your parents? And that's Dave was just talking about that. And I think it would be hilarious to do because they don't know how to. My mom has played it like once or twice. And also my mom is the sweetest person ever. She watches all my videos, even though she doesn't understand them. And she like tries her hardest to like get it. And she's like, no, I kind of know what's going on. And I'm like, okay. But she gets the humor a little bit. She tries really hard. So I feel like she would grasp it really easily. I actually think my dad would be the one to have a hard time with it and be like,
would he be the rules lawyer?
No, I think he would just be like, he would just not know what's going on. And then like, he would just constantly at some point he would try to understand, give up, and then just mess around the whole game and just be like, oh, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'd be like, Dad, you're not even playing the game. You're just messing around because you don't understand it. And my mom would actually try. I feel like she would actually try to play it. But regardless, I think it would be hilarious. And I think we should totally stream that sometime.
Do they watch your videos?
My dad, not as much. I mean, sometimes he does. But I know my mom, she texts me every time I upload a video. She's like, oh, I loved your video. It's so funny. And I was like, thanks, Mom. So, yeah, she watches all of them and she likes them. She thinks they're funny. Yeah. But if it's like longer than 15 minutes, she probably doesn't watch them because she's like,
well, your videos usually aren't that long anyway. So
no, I think that's the benefit of them being shorter now is they're easier to watch. But she always likes the skit ones because she likes to see. She's like, you and Spencer were so funny. And I'm like, yep.
That's us.
Yeah, that's us. That we are in that video. That's kind of the
was there ever a time period when your parents were like, are you going to get a real job? Are you going to do something?
You know what? No. And I owe them a lot for that. Whenever okay, so it's a weird story. I've said it like a million times, but like I worked at Target and I worked at a school and my mom was actually my boss. Basically, she hired me there and she still works at this school. And then I kind of got fired from there because
she's like, oh no, Jacob needs to do this. He can't work for anybody.
He's a terrible employee. This is the best thing he can do. Like, you're not wrong. Honestly, you're really not wrong. That's pretty accurate. Because I started working at Target. I hated it. I was making videos, but eventually got to a point where I was able to make money off of it. And then I took a huge risk, quit, and tried to go full time with YouTube so that I could make it work. And I did, which was miraculous. But I didn't tell my parents I quit Target until like 3 months afterwards. And so it was like Christmas. And I was like, actually don't work at Target anymore. I'm just doing YouTube. And they're like, you quit? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, okay. And I mean, it's just been good ever since. They
Yeah.
never went. I owe them a lot because they never went, all right, when are you gonna actually get a real job? When are you gonna stop doing this and you're gonna do another thing? They were really hesitant. They were scared because they didn't want me to like fail. And I think that they were always like, you know, we want this for you. If you enjoy it and you like it, then you should keep doing it. And of course, if it makes you money, then definitely do it. That was their big thing. It was like, if it makes you money, then do it. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, all right. But like, it only ever got better. So they were always just really proud. And now they're just jealous. Now they're just like, they're at this point, I don't think they expected it to go this long. And now they're just like, it's just getting better, and they're just like, all right, that now it's just not fair. And I'm like, well, you know, yeah. So
now you're just being obnoxious and rubbing it
in.
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of been good for all of us though, because I actually was able to hire my sister to help us with our stream. So she's graduating high school like in a couple. I have two sisters. I have my one sister who plays D&D with me, and then my younger sister who's graduating high school in like a couple of weeks. And
Are you the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. And she's going to be working for me on the stream, and she's just going to be helping us out. So that's kind of like a job for her. So it's like, it's been kind of nice for them too, and also us. So like, I hear a lot of stories about how people want to do YouTube and they want to get into this kind of stuff, and their parents always just like, yeah, but you need to go to school and do a real job. I freaking dropped out of school. I worked and failed and got fired and started doing YouTube, and my parents have always been super supportive. So I really owe that to them.
Yeah, like Crit Crab has a fun story. He started his YouTube channel living in a van. He was a van person.
That. How do you think a crab drives a van?
Well, you got a lot of extra appendages.
You need like a whole. It has like little sticks like that to push the pedals.
Maybe, or you just bring all of your crab buddies. So
all the crabs help him. That probably makes more sense. All the crab buddies.
Yeah, you got a couple that work the pedals, and somebody's got to steer.
Yeah, definitely. That's crazy though that he's just in like a van.
Yeah.
I have actually watched a few Crit Crab videos. I watched them. We did for Bards, we did a roast. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
Send it to you. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you afterwards because it was a lot of fun. But we did a roast, and it was like me and Logan and Joe Cat and Vitamin Dieter, Fell the Leb, Cammy Cat, and I'm gonna feel real bad if I'm forgetting somebody. No, I think that was it. It was all of us, and myself. I'm trying to remember if there's anybody else, because I'm gonna feel really bad if I miss out on who is in that. And
it's inevitable. That's why like I hate naming people, because like once you start, you feel like you have to continue, and then it's like, who did I forget?
Yeah, exactly. Where is it? Hey, Crit Crab. I was stupid. We were just talking about him. Crit Crab was in it. So yeah, that was it. That was everybody who was in it. And we were doing we basically just did like a round table roast where we made little descriptions, and oh my God, the bombs are going off. Everything's exploding.
Yeah, it's a smoke detector. Either my house is on fire or somebody's burning something.
Got it. Yeah. No, it's just this creative talk. Our daily chat is just so fire that it's setting off fire alarms. So I'll keep talking to ignore the smoke alarm. So we did like a roast, and we all had little descriptions, and we got to send to each other, and we had like red listed topics that were like, don't make fun of this for me, but then we had like a description of all the things you can make fun of, and it was surprisingly fun. I thought it was going to be real mean and everybody's going to be real upset. It was super funny. Everybody did a really great job, and we just got to like roast the shit out of each other, and it was really funny. And so one of the jokes I had for Crit Crab was like, I was making fun of the style of his videos and being like, oh, you just rip them off of Reddit. And then I was just like, just kidding. I don't watch any of your videos. But then it wasn't true because I actually watched some of his videos to do research for the roast. But that's when I had watched some of his videos as I went back and I was checking them out, and like, they're pretty cool. I like his videos. They're fun to just kind of like sit back and listen to and relax, because you can just be like, wow, I'm not going to be like that guy who was on Reddit and was a piece of crap. So
yeah,
it's fun to hear horror stories sometimes.
I first of all, it was a great idea because really, literally, like, just taking stories from Reddit is so easy. But
yeah,
that being said, you still have to be able to deliver and all that. So there's a skill and technique to that. But I just love his story. Like, and like when we were talking a little bit, and it's like, there was a time when his parents were like, kind of give him a hard time to get like a real job and stuff. And like, I'm like, yeah, but you probably make more than all of them just doing YouTube. So
it's true. Yeah, definitely. You won in the end, Crab.
You did.
Yeah, that always sucks. I hate to hear that kind of stuff. I mean, even people who want to get into the scene and message me and try to be like, well, I really want to make videos, but I feel like everybody's already done everything already. And I'm like, dude, I'm always like, I was getting into the game when Nerdarchy was doing their thing, and they had a million videos that talked about everything already. The thing is that everybody has their own different perspective, their own entertainment style, and their own way of presenting material. So even if you made a video, a class guide about rogues that everybody's done already, your presentation style is still going to be different than other people. And I always want to be encouraging to people to try it, because if you try it and it works, then it works. But if you try and it fails, you lose nothing except the fact that you can say that you tried. So if you're out there and you want to start making YouTube videos, or you want to start being a creator, just do it, because it's fun and it's great. And it's always nice to have more people in the scene.
I've heard people go like, I don't want to do this type of video because WebDM or Nerdarchy or XP Level 3 or whoever does that already. Like, so what? They haven't heard your take on it, right? And like,
exactly,
they'll either like it or they won't, right? And like, there was a bunch of people that were doing it, and other creators come along and they blow them out of the water, and someone will probably come along and blow those people out of the water eventually. There's always
sometimes a runesmith shows up out of nowhere and just kicks everybody in the butt directly.
So so like, especially when I hear people say like it's saturated or there's no room, it may be harder, but I still don't think that's true, right? There's always someone who hasn't shot their first video yet is going to come out and blow us all out of the water.
The cool part about it not being saturated either is that there are people who are fans of certain things and then aren't fans of other things. Because I know that there are people who will like watch certain videos, but they won't watch other people. But then there are the people who do the opposite. And so you're going to appeal to a certain group of people that are going to like what you make. So, no harm in trying.
Agreed. And the community's great. It's, and also it's like when I decided to go full time, the person that gave me the hardest time,
who?
My accountant. I've been using the same accountant for a long time, and they actually used to be a client of mine when I was a personal trainer, like a long time ago. Nice. So it's like they yelled at me for so long. I mean, like, I had a decent job. I was making a decent living, but I hated my life and I hated that job so much.
Yeah.
So now,
do you like what you do now, though?
Oh yeah, I'm broke, but I like it. So
you know what? That's what matters. That's what matters.
Well, that job was just shaving years off of my life. No, I used to get tension headaches, and since I quit that job, I don't think I've had one.
That's great.
It was so stressful. Like, I did heavy construction, right? And the first night on a new job was always so stressful because you're trying to get into either the left lane or the right lane, and you have to be in a specific spot in front of these people, but behind these people, and you're coming in off a highway and traffic is like 80 miles an hour. So, and then like if you go into the wrong spot, then you have to get out and find the right spot, or maybe you have to loop around. And like the very first night is always the most stressful because you don't know what's going on yet. So I don't miss that at all.
Yeah, that sounds really awful and really really stressful and
And also it was just dangerous. Like every year, like you'd hear about, like, did you hear about so and so? This is what happened to them last year.
No, don't. That just makes you so much more worried, because then you're like, oh, cool. That means it could just happen to me. That's great.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, so like, you know, the thing is, like, when you do a job like that, people get really comfortable and complacent. So like they're like moving around this equipment and machinery like it's nothing, and traffic, you know, like it's nothing. And like those guys that have been doing it the longest, they're more likely to bite it because they're just like it's so normal to them, right? They're not afraid anymore. So you need to have a little dose of healthy respect.
Yeah, definitely.
On that note, we're just past the hour mark. Final thoughts before we head on that?
My final thoughts are don't let your memes be dreams.
Nice. On that note, until next time, stay nerdy.